to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
This is Colm McGuigan for FLTV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to be joined here in Cleveland, Ohio with Eddie Hearn. Eddie, how's things?
Good, mate. Just got in about an hour or so ago via New York. Obviously Abu Dhabi last week. The clock's all over the place, but excited for this card. One of our, I guess, smaller shows on the US schedule, but a cracking show as well. I mean, Montana Love against Stevie Sparks, a really good fight. Richardson Hitchens for us, you know, making his pro debut. Ray Ford in another tough fight. Khalil Coe, Beatrice Ferreira, for me, the standout young prospect in female boxing right now. And you don't even have to really ask the people around the amateur scene how good she is. World champion, amateur, Olympic silver medalist, and just all out entertaining. So her pro debut, plenty more on the card as well, and looking forward to a good fight here. Cleveland, never done a show here before, going to have a great crowd there, so looking forward to it.
I was just about to say the Matchroom debut in Cleveland, and I've seen some comments on social media saying that there was only 5% of ticket sales done. Do you have any comment to make on that?
No, we'll have about 6,000 in there, which I'm pretty pleased with. I mean, it's quite amazing, Colm. Like, I know that obviously, and not just us has set the standard high, but not every show sells 10, 15, 20,000, 60,000. Like, you get it a lot. You know, you go to these big arenas. Don't forget that we're always in big arenas, whether it's Wembley. This holds like 15,000. Last week was 14,000 all up. O2, Manchester Arena. Like, it's not the end of the world to do 5,000 or 6,000, but it's like the Twitter world sort of jumps on. Oh, and when there's so many shows, like, it's difficult. You know, you've got a period coming up now. We've obviously just done Katie Taylor. You've got Sky. I've got a show in Manchester this weekend. Then the weekend after, November 26th, you've got Dillian White, you've got John Ryder against Zach Parker at the O2, both on the same night. The week after, you've got Tyson Fury against Derek Chisora. You've got a Sunday night show, I think Sky are doing that same weekend. You've got Sonny Edwards fights tomorrow. Like, there is 3 or 4 shows a weekend. So, you know, we will have 6,000 to 7,000 in here on Saturday. And, you know, I'm honest enough to say, Montana Love against Stevie Spark is not Canelo Alvarez against Triple G. So we're in his hometown, we're going to do 6,000. I'm very happy with that. And it'll be a great fight as well, because we're giving Stevie Spark this opportunity because of the growth, our growth in the Australian market as well. This kid's coming to fight. This is going to be a hell of a fight. Montana needs to perform in his hometown, needs to step up here. And Stevie's coming with absolutely nothing to lose at all. Loads of the Australians coming over to support him as well. It's going to be a great fight.
Obviously as well, I do need to get your comments on last week in Abu Dhabi. Successful event obviously for Matchroom, but the win for Dimitri Bivol, do you think that Canelo fight can be next?
Yeah, I mean, Dimitri's pretty honest. Like, I think from a legacy point of view, he wants to fight for undisputed. There's so many things that you have to take into consideration. Number one, you know, the path to that. So Beterbiev is supposed to be fighting Yard, I think, January 28th or February. Then Ramadan comes and he won't be available till back end of the summer, maybe even September. So is Dimitri going to wait for that? Is he going to have a voluntary defence? This is if he doesn't fight Canelo Alvarez. At the same time, Canelo Alvarez has got to want to and agree to fight Dimitri Bivol, which all the signs are he does. It's a very difficult fight based on the first fight and, of course, the fight that we've just seen with Ramirez. So I think Dimitri's in a great position. I feel like he's really starting to become a bit of a fan favourite now, because he genuinely will fight anyone. I mean, he jumped in and fought Canelo, fought Ramirez, 44-0. He'll fight Beterbiev next. He'll rematch Canelo. From his point of view, you know, he does want that undisputed title, and I want to deliver that for him because I believe he wins that fight. So we'll see what's next. But obviously, Canelo Alvarez is a big fight, a big opportunity, and we'll have to see.
Chantel Cameron put on a good performance, came out with a win. You know, the question on every Irishman's lips is Croke Park going to happen? And if so, when do you envisage that fight happening? And could it be Chantel Cameron against Katie Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, the focus for us is on Amanda Serrano. I mean, Chantel, we developed that tournament, really. And although McCaskill wasn't originally in that tournament, we developed it to give Chantel an opportunity to become undisputed. And at the same time, she's done that, and the reason we did that is to set up the Katie Taylor fight, to give Chantel the profile that she now has. So there's massive nights out there for Chantel Cameron. She owns every belt in the 140-pound division, and a fight between Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron is 2 undisputed, 135 and 140. I will say, obviously, our focus is on Amanda Serrano, but that she's also been ordered to fight Erica Cruz, our other world champion, at featherweight for the undisputed. So everything's a bit up in the air. Our focus is 1,000,000% on going to Croke Park. We do need their support, and we need the Irish government support as well. Not in terms of allowing it to happen, but just, this is a very expensive operation to go into Croke Park and put a fight on. Because we have other opportunities in Ireland with different stadiums. For me, and you can answer this better than me, Croke Park is the one, right? It's historic. We can go to the rugby stadium, we can go to other places, but for me, even as a promoter, and I know how Katie feels, this is where it should happen. But, we need, there's been a lot of conversations, really going back from last year. It's an expensive place, very expensive, and we believe we fill it, but we've got to make it right, numbers-wise, for Katie, for Amanda, and hopefully we'll be there. I mean, you can't look at social media at the moment without Irish fighters saying, I'll fight him and I'll fight him. And I sent Brian Peters a list the other day of fights that it's so easy to do, isn't it? And I'll tell you now, Gary Cully against Jorge Linares, right? Spike O'Sullivan against Hogan or Kevin Adjarko, right? Luke Keeler against Jason Quigley. Thomas Carty maybe against Johnny Fisher. I don't know. But there's so many fights like that going down, and you can imagine what kind of night it'll be. Because there are so many people, Irish fighters, desperate to go on this fight. Genuinely, you could just say the only way, like UFC style, is you v you, right? No, I'm not talking to you anymore. See you there. Do you want it or not? Yes or no, right? Or pass. Go to the next one. So it would be amazing, and I really want to do it because I just feel like the atmosphere, the occasion, everything, like not just for Irish boxing, for Irish sport, but for Katie, I just think it'll be unbelievable.
What month would you be thinking if it is to happen?
April, May. Yeah. I mean, we want to go into, it'll be Katie's next fight. Serrano, we've got to talk about Serrano and say, do you want to go straight into that or do you want to fight Cruz first? Fights Cruz should be in January. Again, it's a difficult fight, this is a must for us and to deliver it for Katie.
Just on this Cleveland show, Montana Love, you've added Richardson Hitchens to your stable, exciting fighter. Is that a potential fight down the line? Because they both clearly don't like each other.
They're going to talk up, I'm sure, today as well. Like, as a promoter, you notice things like that. And Kevin Rooney, our head of boxing, says, there's a lot of beef between Hitchens and Montana. And I'm like, yeah, and they're both 140, okay. And Richardson's got to probably win well against Alamo, which is a tough fight as well. But then that fight with Montana, the only thing with Montana, he's probably looking at Hitchens going, I'm kind of a level above that now. I want my big fight. But if the money makes sense, there's enough beef, which there is, and everybody wants to see it, I think it's a really good fight.
Coming out of the WBC convention, we've got Ruiz Wilder ordered. Any comments on that?
You get so many fights ordered. I mean, firstly, I like what the WBC have done. They're putting pressure on people to make fights. Now, just because they order a fight doesn't mean that it happens. But I think Maurizio's kind of playing like fantasy football, where you get the opportunity to make all these great matches and players, and he's in a great position. And what he's doing, he's almost like a fan, saying, right, and he's making fights that, like a fan, although he's a president, and he's a great president. But at the same time, it's the business of boxing that has to allow those fights to happen. I'll give you an example. When they announced yesterday Shakur Stevenson against Pitbull Cruz, I thought, wow, loved that fight. Then you're like, top rank, Shakur Stevenson, very, very good. Isaac Cruz, PBC, they know they probably won't win that fight. But so these fights, again, Wilder against Andy Ruiz, not sure it will happen. Great fight. I love it. Then you get some fights that are kind of ordered conveniently, like Errol Spence against Keith Thurman, which we all know that's the fight anyway, but just because it's been ordered, it just looks a bit better, And but I like it. I mean, the WBC convention is growing. It's become a major event. The guys have just got back from Mexico City, and You know, they're doing a great job. Every governing body has a really, really difficult job. Like you imagine, COLM, you've got Matchroom, Top Rank, Golden Boy, PBC, whoever else is out there, and then all trying to position their fighters, all trying to get mandatory spots, all trying to get a fight. And these guys have to let people down. They're perceived to be doing people favours. They're not really. They've just got a very difficult job. So, I love Ruiz Wilder. That's your original question. I love a lot of the fights that were ordered at the WBC convention. I think, and then going back to the WBA, who ordered Serrano to fight Cruz. Very unusual. You never really get a world champion from another governing body being ordered to fight the WBA champion. But in that instance, and the same with Baumgardner against Choi, it's actually good for boxing. I think we should push harder to get an undisputed champion in every weight class. That, for me, people talk about the belts. That way we can keep the belts, but we can find out who the best is in every division. And you're seeing that a lot now in female boxing. And that's one of the most pleasing things about female boxing, is just that champions will fight champions straight off the bat.
Just sticking with the Wilder Ruiz for one moment. Anthony Joshua was obviously in Abu Dhabi. Did you have any conversations with him while he was there?
Yeah, lots. I mean, he's not in a rush to come back. He wants to come back. He wants to come quickly. But it's not like, you know, when you miss an opportunity like Fury, then sort of your mojo goes a little bit. Then you get to November and you're like, probably not going to fight in December. Then it's like, I've got Christmas and I'm not going to fight in January. And then February's there, and before you know it, you're looking at March. And that's really where we're at the moment. Like, he's stayed out in the Middle East, he's having a holiday, and then he's going to go back into camp. So the plans for us is middle end of March, really. Now, then you get comments like, oh, what's going on? Why is it going to March? Just because he wanted to have a couple more weeks on holiday. Really? He's still focused, he's still hungry. We talked about fights, you know, Andy Ruiz was there, obviously Deontay Wilder's a fight for him, people talk about Otto Warlin. You know, there's a lot of good fights out there for Anthony, but he's not really interested in having a shit fight, in all honesty. And not just because he doesn't want an easy night, he don't think any of them are easy. You know, there's an argument. I mean, you've got Dillian Whyte against Franklin coming up. Like, the winner of that fight, probably the front runner to fight AJ in March. But anything can happen. You know, Otto Warlin's a dangerous fight. You saw it against Tyson Fury. You know, it might be an easier fight than, I don't know, someone else. Like, you know, then you got Hrgovic, you got Zhang, you got all these people. They're all dangerous fights. And I think AJ just looks at it and goes, I think it's more dangerous to have what's perceived to be an easy fight. I'd rather fight Wilder or White or whoever.
Another one we've seen at the WBC convention is obviously Matchroom's request to get Conor Benn reinstated in the rankings. Talk to me a bit about that.
Well, I just feel that you shouldn't really be removed from the rankings until you've had a trial or a hearing. But I get it. And I don't. You know what, COLM? The good thing is things are happening. Right? That's all we want. So make your decisions, have the hearing, get the science, and now, as they said we've removed him for the rankings for now, subject to the hearing, which is, again, I'm not involved with that hearing. As I understand it, it's now underway. So Conor Benn's case will be heard, and then they can make their decision. And whatever the decision is, let's get on with it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they find him not guilty. Maybe he gets a year ban. Maybe he gets 3 months. Maybe he gets 6 months. But let's, you know, if he's going to get a ban, let's get it. You know what I mean? Because we're looking at it and saying, we're not looking at the moment on when or how Conor Benn's career can resume until that hearing is over. That's the most important thing, because people aren't going to accept him returning, fighting in another country, another commission, until he's had a hearing, until there's a finding and a resolution as to the results, the science, everything, so people can digest it. So that's underway. And the next question is, not from you, but as well, how long? I have not got a clue. A day, 2 weeks, a month, but hopefully as soon as possible in terms of the finding and the results.
Final one. We've seen Devin Haney and Lomachenko was ordered as well. Conveniently now Haney's a free agent. Will he sign back with Matchroom?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's a free agent. I know that he has some minimums in his contract to fight Lomachenko. I was with him last week. That we get on so well. You know, I always had a dream that I would be there with Devin when he become undisputed, because I knew he'd do it. But unfortunately, he could never have become undisputed with us because they froze us out and they froze the zone out, and and he had to do what he had to do. I think now the Lomachenko fight is a great fight for Devin now. And by the way, people shouldn't give Devin criticism because Devin wanted that fight when Loma was in his prime. He actually told me, get me Lomachenko. We positioned him in the WBC to become mandatory, and then they made him, I can't remember what they used to call it, champion, what's it called? I can't remember. I've lost my mind. Yeah, one of those. So, sorry?
Super champion?
No, not even with the WBC. Winkle, what did they call the WBC champions when they elevated them to this new... No.
Anyways, one
One of them. When Canelo got it, Lomachenko got it when they were trying to get Haney in there. Yeah, everyone's lost it, yeah. Shout out to me. One of them. And basically, he wanted that fight. And now, I'm not saying it's an easy fight, but now it's a much, much easier fight than it was when he was trying to fight him. Franchise. There you go. It's mad. The franchise is gone now, really. So anyway, I think that it's a very good fight for Devin Haney right now. In my opinion, he cannot lose to Lomachenko. So get that, and then I think you'll see him move up to 140, really. Unless Ryan Garcia, Tank, these guys are still floating about 135.
Well, Eddie, thanks a million for your time. We'll do this again tomorrow. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife for saying completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.